Hello everyone, my name is Michael SK and welcome back to Umineko When They Cry episode 6. In the last video, the worst thing that could have happened to Battler had occurred, and that was him getting married. Honestly, some may say that that's the worst thing that could ever happen to a person in general. But for here, it has basically stripped away Battler's rights. He has lost his ability to run this world. He is no longer the lord of the game, of this world. His ring has been taken from him. His rights in general have also been taken from him because now he's basically Erica's dog. Which, again, many may say that that's how it is with marriage, but I think here more so literally. So Battler is kind of screwed in that sense. He's still stuck in the closed room that he formed upon himself. And somebody actually pointed out in the comments that there are some pretty big parallels as to, what's going on in there and what has gone on, or gone on the outside, I guess you could say, excuse me. So with Battler's finger getting, chewed off, I guess, is something that happened earlier on. I don't truly recall, but that's to go along with this. With the new ring being put onto Battler that has those thorns, he cannot get that out, He can't remove this ring. It's now a part of his soul forever. Yeah, so Battler is definitely screwed. I don't really know if there is any saving him at this point. But the whole episode here is not over. We have more to go. We have this duel between Kanun and Shanun to go through. I thought that was going to go on in the background, honestly. I brought that up in the previous video. I thought that, we had seen the end of that, and whatever the result of it would be Beatrice coming to the rescue. None of that happened. A dreary breeze blew through the Golden Rose Garden. Shanun and Kanun had already finished walking 19 steps, their backs still facing each other. When the demons conducting the trial gave the signal, they would both turn and settle this. Each had one of the dueling pistols given by the demons in their hands. Their bullets promised certain death no matter where on the body they hit. This duel would not end until one of them died. So I was commenting or replying to a comment in the last video, and I think that the symbolism of this is just that, or I guess the reality of this is that no matter what, one of them has to die. And that might actually be, pointing towards some truth as to actual events in the story, that in order for some goals to be achieved, there's definitely some selfishness among most of the characters, if not all of them. They all seem to have their own plans and goals, aspirations, and nobody will get in the way. Shoot, we even heard from Kirie, earlier on that she would kill for Rudolph. So we already have some twisted views here. But I digress, I could get in a little deeper with examples. You guys get the idea. I do believe that we are here with a situation of, this is just showing us that Kanun and Shanun, they have to kill one another. They have to try to kill one another. Whether it's for love or something else, this is something that they have to do. The other one cannot live. George and Jessica just quietly watched the ones they loved. They had already entrusted all of their thoughts to them, as well as their fates. Just watching over their partners was now the only way they could show their trust. Shanun and Kanun stood quietly with their backs turned. They had already set aside the feelings that they'd built up during all those days they'd known each other. The next time they laid eyes on the other, nothing would be asked of them except pulling the trigger. The only one who still couldn't muster any determination or resolve towards this duel was Beato. The closer that moment came, the less she understood. The love between George and Shanun wasn't standing in the way of the love between Jessica and Kanun, or vice versa. Why, when both sides could find happiness, were they being forced to kill each other?
わからない。私にはどうしても。妹よ、我らには見守ることしか許されぬ。
I mean, with the context that we're in, I will say the same thing I've said multiple times before. It is really dumb that both can't just try to go on about with their relationships. They're very much looked down upon relationships. But there's a whole lot more going on. We've sprinkled way too much magic over it to, we're forgetting that there are more obstacles than we think. There may be more going on. And again, these people are selfish. There is something that is preventing both of them from being able to find the happiness they so desire. They have to eliminate the other.
ゼパルさん、フルフルさん、どうしてこんな決闘？こんなの恋の試練じゃない。やっぱりあなたたちは悪魔なんです。どちらかの恋人たちを破綻させて、それを見て喜びたいだけの悪魔なんです。
静かに。
恋人たちの邪魔になるわ。邪魔をしてるのはあなたたちじゃないですか。どちらかが倒れる。倒れた方の恋人たちが嘆き悲しむ。あなたたちさえいなければ誰も悲しまない。
それは違う。僕たちがこの決闘を取り持たなかったら、
二組はどちらも破綻したわ。これは必要な決闘なの。私は最初から納得できなかったんです。魔法の奇跡がなければ恋って成し遂げられないんですか？恋って愛し合う二人さえいれば他に何もいらないんじゃないんですか？この決闘は無意味です。
Okay, so thinking back on the idea of magic being required for their love to work. So the idea of magic on the flip side, trying to disprove it or even prove it is that you have to show that it's a trick. So what is the trick here? They have to use some sort of trick in order for their love to work? There has to be a substitution for something for magic in order for their love to work. Is murder that substitution? I don't know.
だからやめて。二人ともシャノンもカノンもあんなにも実の兄弟のように仲良しだったあなたたちがどうして殺し合わなくちゃいけないの？私にはどうしてもわからない。
Everyone should have been able to hear Beato's yell. However, no one's expression changed.
そうだよ。よく気づいたね。
それこそ愛の真実。何がですか？
愛し合う二人以外に本来は何もいらないんだ。
だからそれが二人でないとき、私たちは決闘でその数を二人にしなくてはならない。一人の女性を奪い合っての決闘ならまだわかります。愛し合ういびつな三人を二人にする決闘。しかし彼らは二人と二人、それぞれの世界はもう完成されてるじゃないですか。争わなければならない理由が何もない。
世界を生み出す最小の人数は二人。
二人が揃って初めて世界は生まれ、恋は成就される。
So is the idea that in order for their love to work, they have to kill everybody else, maybe? Maybe that's what we're getting out of this? So I've brought it up before, I think everybody, or at least the majority of people, in the mansion, on the island, whoever, servants, family, Dr. Najo, they all have a reason, or at least the majority of them have a reason to commit some sort of crime that takes place on this weekend. Be it for the headship, for the gold, for money in general, and assets, or I guess in this case, love. The only way that their relationship could work is if they eliminate everybody else, maybe? Could that be a reason for Kanun and Shanun to try to go out of their way to kill family, servants, etc.?
だからこの決闘は必要なんだ。
They talk about creating a world and it can only be created by two. So everybody else must be eliminated in order for their world to exist?
彼らがその人数を満たすために。家具は人間未満だから一人を満たせないと言い出すんですか？
正解だよ。家具は人間未満。だから家具と人間じゃ二人を満たせない。
そんなのおかし 愛し合う二人の身分なんて関係ない。
いいや、あるよ。本当に愛し合う二人の身分は関係ないの？
妻を持つ男との恋は許されるの？夫を持つ女との恋は許されるの？
親との恋は許されるの？子との恋は許されるの？恋の許されない身分なんていくらでもある。
じゃあ家具って何なんですか？どうして家具は恋をしちゃいけないんですか？
魂が一人に満たないから。シャノンもカノンも駒である君ももちろん。
あなたたちはみんな家具。魂が一人分に満たないから人間以下。
人を愛する資格はただ一つ。一人に満たつ魂を持っていること。だから愛し合う二人は世界を生み出せる。
例えば妻を持つ男はもう一人の女を愛する資格を持つと思う？
あるわけがない二人の女を愛せばその愛情は一人分に満たない。そのような男に愛する資格はない
ね。人を愛する資格のない人間や身分なんていくらでもあるの。二人の愛の一切あれば関係ない？それは甘い愛の偽善。
僕たちはね、恋をする資格を偽る人間を許さない。世界を生み出す最小人数を満たせない人間以下の存在の恋を許さない。僕たちの試練はそのためにある。罪深き魂たちに一人分の魂を取り戻させ、本当の恋ができるようにするために。
Sinful souls, huh? No, don't worry, guys. I'm still completely lost here.
ゼパル様、
You know,
フルフル様。
their whole explanation aside, I have no fucking idea.
僕たちの心の準備ができました。
どうか決闘の合図をお願いします。
The pair bidding farewell quietly asked for the signal to be given. But you guys got your bet on? I feel like they're gonna kill each other, honestly. Zepar nodded silently and then walked to a place that could be seen by both of them. Furfur spoke in a voice quiet enough to avoid distracting the two duelists.
見ているといいわ。愛し合う恋人たちのどちらかが破綻する決闘を。いいえ、これは破綻のための決闘じゃない。本当の恋を成就させるための決闘。私にはあなたたちの言っている意味がいいえ、わかりなさい。これは本当に人を愛することができる人間が誕生する瞬間。意味がわからない。
I mean, based on the stuff that I'm predicting and kind of based on what they've been saying, you know, the servants, furniture, lesser status, this and that. Like, I can understand lesser status. Let's just go with that. In order for them to feel like that they could be with somebody that is of, you know, not lesser status, then they need to eliminate everyone around them that would see them as lesser status. They need to eliminate that whole perception in order to actually feel human, to actually be above their rank.
どちらが勝とうともどうか祝福してあげて。今彼らの家具としての日々。
Again, I am really just like, you know, completely unsure, just kind of like spitballing some
合
ideas,
図は簡単。
rambling.
僕が1、2の3と同時に決闘開始だ。
承知してます。
同じく。
2人が共に弾を外したら一度中断、再び弾を与え、もう一度背中合わせからやり直し。
決着がつくまで繰り返したろ。
ゼパル、この決闘過去に何度も見てるのかい？
もちろん何度も見てきたよ。
大抵何度の打ち合いで決着がつくんだい？
I would assume once.
ほとんどの場合、弾丸一発で決着がつくよ。
みんな随分と拳銃の腕がいいんだな。
Well, it helps that, like, you just need to, like, at the very least, just scratch your target.
違うよ。片方が外せば残った方は悠々と追い詰めて撃つことができる。
Yeah, honestly, you don't have to immediately shoot. You just need to avoid the first shot.
初段をもし外したらまず勝ち目はないね。
You could either be the quickest or you can be the smartest.
しかしぼんやりしていれば引き金も引けずに負けることになる。
同じ負けるならせめて引き金を引いてから負けたい。
いい覚悟だよ、二人とも。では行くよ。
Uh-oh, man. Here we go. Who do you guys think is gonna... Who do you think will win? Who do you think is gonna die? Place your bets now. Unless you already know the answer, you're not allowed to play. You are not allowed to play this this game here. I'm a betting man, but I'm also really dumb at it. Uh-oh.
Nino!
Here we go. Honestly, my money's on Shannon. Well, let's see. Or they both die. It's either Shannon or they both die. I'm sorry, Kanun. I have, like, no faith in you, dog. In the Golden Rose Garden, when the number 3 was yelled, the sound of gunfire rang out once. Even the people watching couldn't tell whether that was a single gun firing or the sound of both going off at the same time. Oh my god, I'm fucking dumb. In the midst of the stench of gunpowder and white smoke, there, with gun raised and smoke trailing the barrel, was Kanun. Guys, I'm a fucking hater, man. Oh my god. I predicted that horribly. Like, absolute dog shit prediction. I have lost my home, I have lost my car, and I am $300,000 in debt. And lying on the earth was Shannon.
Shannon!
いや、シャノンが倒れたのは銃声より早かった。
What? Jessica's distressed expression was enough to explain what had happened. What? What? Oh my god. I've been duped. Slowly, Shonen stood up. There was no bullet wound anywhere on her body. At the time of the signal, Shonen had thrown herself to the ground, dodging the bullet. It had been a bet. If Kanun had turned around and taken the time to aim carefully before shooting, then he would have shot her as she lay there. However, if Kanun shot as soon as he turned around, then, well, she would be able to dodge it. Kanun had also made a bet. He did not underestimate Shanun's skill with a firearm. He was fully aware that if he assumed Shannon would be timid enough to let him shoot first, he would lose before even pulling the trigger. So, he had decided to shoot right away. And he had predicted that when he shot, Shannon would reflexively pull the trigger too. Since he intended to shoot right away, he would be more mentally prepared, so he was confident that he'd be able to shoot accurately. If Kanun had cautiously turned around, and Shannon had shot instantly with the strength of her will, then Kanun wouldn't even have been able to pull the trigger. So, no impatience on Kanun's part was to blame here. The two had simply given it their all, left their fates to the heavens, and reached this result.
まさかあの短気な姉さんが撃たないなんてね。
私も意外だった。あの慎重なカノン君が振り向きざまなんてね。
As Shannon quietly pointed the barrel at him, she slowly walked forward. She planned on cautiously closing the gap until she reached a distance from which she could hit with even more certain accuracy, And Kanun had already lost any means of fighting back. He could only try to dodge Shannon's bullet and place his bet on the second round. If they both thought this, then what happened next would turn that assumption on its head.
まだ終わっちゃいない。
Is he gonna rush her? Kanun dashed forward like a tornado, bent over so low that he was almost crawling over his shadow. This duel could only be settled by a bullet, but he wasn't the only one who had a bullet. If he could steal Shenun's gun away from her, he could turn this fight around. And if Shenun calmly shot through Kanun, it would end. The odds that Shenun would miss or that he could get close enough to her before she fired, Kanun would bet all the chips he had on them. Well, you kind of need to. Shenun could draw Kanun until the last second, and then shoot him from a closer distance. If she pulled the trigger just before he reached her, then even if she missed, they would just start again from the beginning. Shenun kept her gun pointing at Kanun's forehead as she compared these options until the final moment. She led her shot, calculating the distance that he had already moved and the time it would take to pull the trigger. Quick math. The goddess of fortune smiles impartially.
しまった。
Surviving past the final moment Shenun could have shot, Kanun barreled into her chest. He then swung his hand up and knocked the gun Shenun held into the air. That strike sent Shenun's gun flying into the sky. At the same time, Kanun's gun also flew from his hand and danced through the air. The two guns danced a rondo through the sky, reached their peak, and began to fall. By that time, neither knew whose gun was which. The two guns were exactly the same. Everything about them was identical. There was no way to tell them apart. However, there was one difference. Only one of them had a bullet inside. The pair raised their hands to the sky, trying to grasp their fate, their miracle. It was as though they were trying to grasp the wings of a descending angel of miracles. The pair looked up at the brilliant sky and entrusted everything to the goddess of fortune. Then they grabbed one of the guns out of the air, and after dancing a momentary rondo, their arms crossed each other. Oh, here we go again. Even that had been like a dance. Then, they each pressed the barrel of their gun up against the other's forehead, both as steady as a rock. Even they could not know which gun held the bullet. When they both pressed the triggers, one would die and one would remain alive. The match would end. George and Jessica wouldn't know the result until that moment came. However, was it really impossible for the two holding the guns to know? The muzzle of Kanun's gun, which had already been fired, must have been warm, and the muzzle of the other gun, which Shenun hadn't fired, should have been ice cold. So perhaps the pair of them did realize which gun was which, and yet both expressions were solemn, the faces of those who would believe in their fate unswervingly until the moment the triggers were pulled.
悲しまないで。私たちはすぐに黄金鏡で会えるよ。
僕たちはもっと早くこうする。
そうすれば再会しなくて済むのにね。
いざこの決闘さえも、もはや今日という日の前にはただの茶番さ。
そうだね。どうせ蘇る黄金鏡の前には本当にただの茶番。じゃあ後ほど。
後ほど。
さようなら。
Okay, well, who died? I guess Kanun died.
Oi! どうした? しっかりしろ!
Suddenly, Kanun fell to the floor as if he'd had an attack of anemia. It had happened without any warning beforehand, so everyone rushed up to him in alarm. Excuse me. What they saw surprised them. There was a single strand of blood across his forehead, making it look as though it had cracked open.
そんな。どうしたんだ。どういうことだ。これは。
Trying to get a look at the wound, Goda wiped Kanun's forehead with a handkerchief. However, his forehead was perfectly smooth without any trace of a wound. and yet blood was pouring out almost as though it was seeping through his skin.
何やってやがんだ。しっかり止血しろい。
それが傷がないのに血が止まらない。
カノンがしっかり。カノンがよしやくん。
God damn it, Genji, say something. Kanun's forehead was pale, and though his eyes were open, they had lost the light of the living. Just like a puppet whose strings had been cut, he had passed away. But how'd he die? How'd he die in the story?
さようなら、カノン君。そしてありがとう。
Does this mean Jessica dies as well? Jessica dashed up to Kanun's corpse, held it, pressed her forehead against his, and as the still hot blood was smeared over her forehead as well, she sobbed.
ジョージさん、私が勝ちました。
But at what cost?
これで私にはあなたを愛する資格がやっと。
Shannon leaned against George's chest as though the strings holding her up had been cut. George held her in silence. Hey, at least my earlier prediction was correct. There was nothing in the golden rose garden except the wind that carried golden flower petals, and the sound of Jessica's grieving sobs. So now what?
これで
How do we interpret this
僕
death?
たちへの試練はもう十分かい。
十分さ。おめでとう。残ったのは君たちだ。
君たちを祝福するわ。でも忘れないで、愛を育むのがこれからのあなたたちの務め。
この奇跡が生み出した恋の種をどうかしっかり育ててほしい。
もちろんさ、彼女と君たちにかけて誓う。
それでは魔法の奇跡をシャノンに。
今こそ君の魂を人間に一人分に満たそう。集え満たぬ魂よ、一なる魂となりて愛を知りたまえ。
When Zepar and Furfur faced the heavens and yelled, the miracle of love gathered the souls around Shannon. I mean, is this gonna do anything, like, physically to her? I would highly doubt it. They came from the losers of the trial. From Kanun, who had been defeated, and from Beato, who had dropped out. Slowly, the bodies of the two began to break down into flecks of golden dust.
これはどういうことだ。負けたら消えるとは聞いていないぞ。
As she yelled, Beato the Elder supported the body of her fading little sister. However, the two demons were smiling quietly.
カノンは死んだから消える。そしてベアトはバトラーを愛するために生まれたからその資格を失って消える。
これはとても公平。あなたが生き残ったなら他の二人が消え去ったのだから。
我が妹よ、しっかりバトラーの密室を解き救うのではなかったのか。
Yeah, that was the plan.
こんなところで果ててどうする。それでも一なるわらわの片割れか。
Oh no, she's getting more and more translucent.
バトラさんを好きになるなんて目的のために生まれたんですか。どうして私はバトラさんを好きなの。
That is a good question.
好きになる理由を実は知らないんです。
はあ、こんな時に何を。
だって私生まれた時にバトラさんを愛しなさい、愛さ なさいって。
You were told?
それが目的で生み出されて、だからどうしてバトラさんを私は好きなのかよく知らなくて。
人を好きになるのに理由などいらぬわ。消えるな。そなたが消えたら誰がバトラを救う。我が妹よ、ベアトリーチェ。
And she's gone. That's why she wasn't able to save Battler.
私ってどうしてバトラさんのことを好きなんですか、お母様。
Mother?
ああ、家庭的なことか、案外苦手なんだよな。この通り、ガサツな性格だろ。レディーファーストとか、女の子の前では礼儀正しくとか、そういうのはさっぱり苦手なんだよな。だから、強いて好みはって言われると、そうだな。ジェシカみたいなタイプの女なら結構好きかもな。
Okay, tomboyish.
俺がガサツなように、向こうもガサツがちょうどいいんだ。お互いよ、汚ねえ言葉遣いで気づかれなく、男女とか気にしないでバカがやれるラフな関係が理想かもな。だからもしも俺に彼女ができるとしたら、いつも俺がジェシカとバカやってるみたいにはちゃめちゃな関係がいいよな。あ、容姿の好み？別にそんなのは気にしねえけどよ。まあ洋画とかに出てくる
Oh my
金髪ボー
god.
イ、青めのグラマラスな彼女だったら最高だぜ。ちいちもませろーいってな。
Yeah, that's Battler, alright. What does this mean, though? Beatrice, listen. I'm giving you my love for Ushiromiya Battler. Become the kind of woman Battler wants. Take the golden hair he likes. Take the blue eyes he likes. Take this personality that matches his. And then you must love him in my place. And then if possible, you must be loved by him. I can no longer love him. Please take my feelings that went unfulfilled. My feelings that I couldn't hold back and make my wish come true. From this day forward, you are no longer the Rokkenjima ghost that lives only to play pranks. From this day forward, you will become the master of this island and wait for the day that he comes to fulfill his promise. From this day forward, you will do this in my place. So from this day forward, you will no longer be me. Please forgive me for pushing all of my worries onto you, while I alone try to find happiness. From this day forward, you have the right to hate everything. From this day forward, you are the Golden Witch Beatrice. And one day, you will destroy everything, revive everything. You will bring blessings to all lovers. When that happens, I pray that you and I will both succeed in finding happiness. From this day forward, you will no longer be me. From this day forward, I will no longer be you. The two of us will split apart a single soul and share it. And though, of course, neither of us will possess a complete soul, I'm sure our dreams will be more numerous than those of humans. Let us be blessed, my dear Beatrice. No one will be able to see your form. However, I alone can see you. And if you are loved by many people, I'm sure that everyone will be able to see you someday. With love, they will be able to see us. What the fuck? Hold on now. Hold on, I need to unpack that slightly. Only slightly, though. So, a memory from Battler. We finally get a memory, or a glimpse of the past, 6-ish or who knows how many years ago, to a younger Battler. And what are we supposed to gain from this? What are we supposed to take away from him talking about the type of girl he's into? This correlates with the whole idea of love, but he's just listing off the type of person that he's into, what he wants her to look like, how he wants her to be like, and the relationship that he's aiming for. he made a promise to be with someone like that? What was the promise he made? And who did he make it to? The Beatrice here in this episode was born to be the type of woman that the Battler would like. Is it because Beatrice, the Golden Witch, was unable to put her feelings forward? I can't really say that there was really a whole lot of love going on there, but I don't know. It's hard to really understand that sort of relationship, though Battler truly deeply misses her now that he's realized the truth. He's recognized the errors of his ways or whatever. He's recognized his ignorance, at least. I don't know what to immediately take from this, and it's kind of pissing me off. What the fuck, dude? That seemed like a huge push in the direction that I've been looking for, and I still can't piece things together. God damn it.
私たちは夢を見ているのか。ふざけろ。こりゃ何の冗談だよ。
なんだ、南條先生を呼んできます。
ゴーだ。もういい。
Genji, who had been calm and silent through the whole thing, finally spoke. And his were the most reasonable words spoken. If they called Nanjo here, then what? Not only was there no arm to take the pulse of, there wasn't even a forehead to feel the heat of. Like leftover snow on a spring day, Kanun's form had been... well, by now not even a trace remained. His form had sparkled with a spray of gold vanishing completely. So he just disappeared in this room? What the fuck? You know what, let's just continue to roll with it, I guess.
お嬢様。ジェシカ。
カノンさん。
僕たちはもう誰の目にも触れられない。
Well, no one's eyes could have ever seen Beatrice, to be completely honest.
それはつまり彼らの世界ではいないのと同じことだけれども、でもこうして僕たちはここにいる。
そうですね。私たちはここにいる。
僕たちには体なんて肉でできた檻でしかないのだから悲しむ必要なんてない。
でも気の毒ですね、ジェシカさん。
だからこれが僕の罪なのさ。だから僕たち家具は恋をしてはいけなかったんだ。
Wait a minute.
あなたはこれから
姿を失っても、そして話しかけることができなくても、もしもジェシカが僕に語りかけてくれた時、その背中でそっとうなずくくらいのことしかできないけれど、だからそばにいることにする。
良いことだと思います。
君はどうする？
バトラさんを密室から助けたいです。
密室
After looking a bit taken aback, Kanun laughed gently. Beato, who hadn't expected to be laughed at, looked a little sour.
どうして笑うんですか？私には大切なことなんです。
だって密室なんて体のある人間たちの問題じゃないか。僕らはすでに肉の檻から解放された存在だよ。密室なんか僕たちの妨げになるものか。
そんなのいいんですか？だってチェーンロックとかガムテープの封印とか
そうか、君は駒の世界じゃなくてそれより上の世界の存在だったね。だから僕たちとは違う制約があるらしい。やれやれ。
Kanun stretched. It looked as though he was about to head out somewhere.
カノンさん。
敗者同士の仲さ。いいよ、僕が行ってきてあげるよ。僕がお屋敷の客室へ行って バトラ様を外に出し、入れ替わりでチェーンをかけて代わりにクローゼットに隠れる。それでいいかい？
But wait, I thought that wasn't possible.
気持ちは嬉しいです。でもカノンさんはいとこ部屋から出たくてもエリカさんの封印のせいで。
Unlike the next room over, the cousin room containing Conan was a guaranteed complete closed room, even counting the windows. Not only did he have no way to save Battler, he couldn't even escape himself.
なら君の魔法で僕に力を与えて。
私の魔法で？
Remember, magic equals some sort of trick. We're not being able to see.
僕に魔法をかけて。
そんな、私魔法の使い方なんて。
君は黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェじゃないのかい？
Yeah, allegedly.
私は魔女ですけれど、魔法どころか密室トリックもわからないただの。
やれやれ。いいかいベアトリーチェ、一度しか教えないよ。
Oh boy.
魔女ってのはね。
魔女ってのは？
Why is Conan the one giving an explanation on this?
魔女ってのは謎を解かされる側じゃない。
謎を解かされる側じゃない。
But the one that creates them.
ああ、そうさ。どうして魔女が誰かの謎で頭を抱えてるんだい？頭を抱えるのは。
じゃあ魔女の仕事は？
Whoa, whoa, whoa. There's a lot going on here.
僕の知ってる黄金の魔女、とびっきりの魔法で誰にもわからない難問を見出して煙に巻いて、誰にもわからない最悪の謎を作って徹底的に煙に巻いてこき下ろしてやれ。相手に出された謎で頭を抱えるのはね、君じゃない。
悩むのは私の相手の仕
後ろ宮バトラーをどうやって密室から出すかを。チェーンロックの密室、バカバカしいね。なら君はそんなのよりもっともっととびっきりの
So
最高の密室を作ってやって。
if we dig the hole deeper, then he can get out?
あいつらを悩ませてやろうじゃないか。僕も手を貸すよ。
事。悩むのは私じゃなくて。
あいつらの方さ、地獄の悪魔もひれ伏して絶句する。最悪の密室トリックを無限に使いこなす。そろそろ連中も思い出してもいい頃だ。
バトラさんの密室よりも最悪の密室。
僕らはもうそれを手に入れてるじゃないか。
最悪の。
In the back of Beato's mind, images she remembered began to flit by, one after another. The mansion, the guest house, the rose garden. God damn, she really came up with a lot of closed rooms. Trick, mistake, lure. Taunt, trap, laugh together. Do you know about this trick? I think I've seen something like it in a book before. Beato's eyes opened wider and wider. Countless lights circled around her, swallowing her up.
あともう一個。
何です？
それ密室の魔女の喋り方にはふさわしくないな。
やっぱり私は。
わらわでなくっちゃ。
I'm glad that it clarified there. See, if it didn't clarify the type of eye that was being used, you know, I would have been fairly confused. The marriage ceremony ended without any problems, and the reception was held inside the cathedral. As the goat demons partied raucously, Delanor could be seen leaning against a pillar trying to escape from the noise. Then Gertrude appeared and whispered some kind of report to her.
それは本当ですか？
近景現在コーネリア補佐官が現場保全に向かいたるものなりやエリカ教にも中心すべきかと存じ上げ立てまつる。
わかりました。 ご中心申し上げます。ガートルードは式典警備長に連絡です。準戦闘配備。
御意。
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
ご歓談
Whatever
中
is about to
失礼
happen.
いたします。本式典警備長であります。
え、私？なに？なんかよ。
だからはしゃぎすぎだって言ったのよ。さすがにシャンパンタワーでボーリングはやりすぎだわ。
Excuse me?
少し油を絞られてきなさい。
ベルン、これもう何よ。私なんかした？
受付に差出人不明のラムダデルタ卿宛てと記された封筒が。
私、非通知と差出人不明は全部ポイしちゃう主義なの。そんなの捨てちゃって。
それがこれなのですが。
何それ？これ届いたことは誰かに言った？
いえ、受付の姉妹兵2名と私のみです。すでに箝口令を与えました。
The instant she saw that envelope, Lambda Delta snatched it away and lowered her voice. Bern Castill had walked away and was apparently making fun of Erica. Bern and of course Erica were both drunk. If they were left alone, they'd probably forget about this. It's true that this envelope has no sender written on it. However, the seal done on it in gold leaf fulfills the same purpose. This seal is... Lambda Delta hid behind a pillar, ripped the envelope open, took out its contents and read them. Her eyes instantly started to glint, and she smiled like a kid who's just thought of a nasty trick.
いかがしますか？狙撃犯は赤色弾頭を携行しています。ご許可をいただければ装填命令を出します。
何言ってんのよ。今日はどんだけ豪華な来賓が来てると思ってんの？万一参列者に流れ弾が当たったら、シエスタこの得体の新しい妹たちは向こう10年は工場から弾頭台に直行しなきゃなんないくらいの責任になるわよ。
了解。通常弾頭で対応するであります。煉獄の7姉妹には監視をつけますか？
いるわけないでしょ。だって7組はバトラの、そして今やエリカの家具じゃない。どうして味方に監視をつけちゃうの？とにかく警備を、まあそこそこにちゃちゃっと厳重にしなさい。
先ほどガートルード上席補佐官より準戦闘配備勧告を受けました。理由は不明であります。
ガートルードがじゃあ勧告に従っちゃいなさい。パーティーは賑やかな方がいいってことでしょ。
了解であります。WO よりシエスタ17
Oh my god, she's calling in everybody. Even people we don't even know.
コード R 警戒レベル2で待機を伝達。
17コピー38。
45了解。そこでコピーといえばかっこいいのにね。焦っちゃってつい。そうそう45、ちょっとこっち来て。なんです？ちょっと、ダメ。耳をいじんないで。耳おっとくに。
なんですって？冗談でしょ？ありえない。
現在コーネリアを向かわせています。ベアトリーチェがここを襲撃する可能性が極めて大です。披露宴を中断されて退避されることを進言いたします。
どうしたのエリカ？何か余興に手違いでも？
いいえ、我が主。どうぞ引き続き披露宴をお楽しみください。あ、誰かベルンカステル卿に梅干しワインのおかわりを。
Erica didn't have time to hide her agitation. When Birkenstill saw this, she knew that their final late guest had finally arrived.
ルシネ、ゲストハウスで動きがあったそうよ。
ゲストハウス？ゲーム版のことなんか今はくだらない話だわ。
それが密室のいとこ部屋からカノン君が失踪したって。
はあ？あんた分かってんの？いとこ部屋は扉も窓も完璧に封印されてる完全密室じゃない。失踪なんて不可能だわ。
いや、私も裏を取ってきた。間違いない。
カノンはいとこ部屋より姿を消している。
いとこ部屋のどこかに隠れてるとか、あるいは最初からうまくごまかしてもともと部屋に入ってなかったとか。
I mean, there's the big word right there, is trick.
不可能だわ。いとこ部屋にはエリカ卿が読み上げた特定個人数名以外の全員が入ってることが保証されてるのよ。ごまかして逃れることは不可能だわ。
どうやってユングフラウの封印結界を。いや、それよりカノンは一体どこへ。至急探しなさい。
At that moment, the cathedral suddenly went black. The surprised commotion of the guests filled the cathedral.
来たわね。
WO よりオールシエスタコード R 警戒シエスタ17電源系統回復は
ネガティブ。管理室スタッフとの通信が途絶中。
オールシエスタコードレッドロックンロール。
コピーコピーコピー。了解。あ、じゃなくてコピー。
The sniper teams and the chandeliers all released their safeties at once. The entire security team down in the hall loaded their ammunition.
エリカ卿、控え室へ退避を。
Okay, I know things are about to get all exciting, but we gotta wait until the next video. We just have to. However, before we call it for this one, I would like to talk about something. So, back when Kanon was talking in his ghostly form with Beatrice, something stuck out heavily to me. He said that he had committed a sin by choosing to love even so he is furniture. He is not allowed to. Obviously, Battler is a completely different person. I don't know if he can be equivalent to Kanon at all. However, Battler has also sinned. Did he sin because he failed to keep a promise? Did he sin because he also loved? Was there somebody he actually loved? Even so, he never met Beatrice. This person that we've seen in the paintings, this person that he described, the person that he had been playing these games with up through episode 4, he never met her. But was love or loving of some sort of form his sin? And in his return, he has to face the consequences of it because he forgot about his love? Maybe that's what we have going on here? He wasn't able to see the one that he described. Without love, it cannot be seen. She cannot be seen. He can't see Beatrice, but others can. Kinzo also can't see Beatrice, but others can. We have some fishy stuff going on here, guys. But I feel like the answer's on the tip of my tongue. Whatever that is. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy.